readiness isn't something you feel. It's something that you decide. I can't believe it. We're already on episode number 40. It feels like just 95 days ago when I started. But this one, we're going to talk about what changes when you don't quit. If you're waiting for a feel ready or you're ready, you're late. You're already late because readiness isn't something you feel. It's something that you decide. If you haven't watched before or listened, welcome to Elevate With Enbody. I'm your host, Tim Enbody. And today isn't about motivation. It's not about engagement. Today is more about the decision you've been avoiding longer than you want to admit. Let's get honest. Most people aren't even stuck because they lacked talent or opportunity or resources. They're stuck because they kept waiting for clarity. For what? For clarity to show up? They were showing up or wanting to show up so they could say, now I'm going to commit. It was completely backwards. The commitment has always been there and always will. The moment everything shifts, something changes. You don't quit, and it's not your circumstances. It's more, you have to stop and ask yourself, do I need permission to do this? You stop checking the room. You stop recalibrating every time you feel like something's based off feedback that you got from a comment or from a coworker. You stop asking, is this working yet? And start asking, is this who I'm becoming for tomorrow? That shift, right? We talked about the middle, the bottom, the top. Everything changes. Let me say this plainly as I can. If you need confidence to act, you'll never act consistently. Confidence is conditional. Conviction isn't always. Conviction moves first, and often at that point lets you catch up. Confidence comes later. People never learn the difference sometimes, and that's what we want to break into, because this feels uncomfortable right now because of the point you're in. Some people look at being uncomfortable as it's a mistake. It's wrong. We talked about resistance, persistence, right? So a lot of times when we hit that resistance, we actually take a step back and we're like, okay, this isn't right. This isn't right. When the reality is that's when you need to push through it. The part doesn't feel good. So you think because it doesn't feel good, it's wrong. But when you stop quitting, you lose your excuses. I'm going to say that again. When you stop quitting, you lose a lot of your excuses. You can't blame timing. You can't blame it on the market. I've never seen more people have more excuses than this last 2 or 3 years. You can't blame your lack of feedback on the left or the right. You can only blame it on one thing: responsibility. And most people would rather stay busy than be accountable to themselves and what they get done in a day. This is what other people see, even if they never actually say it. Here's what no one tells you. Your team sees it. Your client sees it. Your referral partners even see it. Why don't you see it? They see who you are long before you actually even acknowledge the change. The results don't slow down. When they see somebody that doesn't panic or posture themselves, it doesn't allow them to make you think that you are disappeared. You're gone. Where'd you go? It's the trust. It's formed when things are loud, when things are quiet. Let's talk about the wake up moment. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Boom, flashing lights. You need to stop bullshitting yourselves. I think a lot of people today would rather sit around the McDonald's table in the morning, have their cup of coffee, and make excuses about what would happen, what could happen, why it didn't happen. And this is in life, work, everything, right? The more you get into the position of bullshitting yourself, the more you're going to lack that preparation mode. It's not about I almost succeeded. No more than, just a few inches away. You put one foot out, the other one comes back. It doesn't work that way. You need to change that mindset. You have to remember that in that middle ground right here, success, goals, top of the ladder, bottom, in between. When you're in that area, you need to let all that noise, you need to put it out. The only thing you should be doing, if you have too much noise, you need to start listening to more positive things. You need to start reading more positive things. You need to start to fire the negativity in your life. Haven't you heard that the vampire, the negativity vampires, they'll come and they'll suck it out of you. A lot of times that's your closest people, and that's what's hard. When you're going through this uncomfortable stage and you have one foot in, one foot out, why it doesn't work is because you need to change. You. So what I want to talk about right now is most people are waiting for results to tell them who they are. The people who win decide who they are before the results ever show up. Have you ever went into a review with a supervisor and you sit down and you're ready to take notes, right? You're sitting there and you're ready for the boss to say, well, your attendance was good, which you should already know. You accomplished all your goals that we set up. Well, you have your O3s, your one-on-ones. You already knew that. And then you're waiting for the ball to drop. Because this is how a lot of people do it, right? You're waiting for that ball to drop, and then you come back and go, well, we can only do this year because of this unknown thing right there. And you're like, but I never knew that. I never know. I never knew that. You didn't share that with me. The results were already there before you showed up, but maybe you weren't part of the conversation. You weren't part of the decision making. You have to make sure that you're in that process. So when you're going through the whole time, it's your decision. You're in line. Everything crosses thereafter. If this episode at all made you kind of go, what was going on? I don't understand. It sounds like some of this is making sense, but nothing really changes until someone stops and they're waiting for you. It's probably because you're somewhere stuck in this middle ground. And I think that's one of the things that really affects a lot of people is when you get stuck in the middle, you don't know whether or not you need to take a step back or a step forward. And I'm telling you right now, a lot of you guys that I get to talk to are doing coaching, mentoring, but it all comes down to a few things. These are key frames and key words that you've heard me say over the last 90 days. Consistency, being authentic, persistence, working through the uncomfortable, showing up and showing out. These are things that people need to think about every time when they're working. These are the things that you need to think about every day when you decide to get up in the morning and make your bed. You decided to start today because tomorrow wasn't going to wait for anybody, right? I mean, you remember this stuff. There's no reason to quit because the reality is, did you ever show up? And if you're showing up and showing out, you know that it's these things that you have to hammer down on. You can't be invisible. You have to post and take advantage of your work in the way that will impress not you, but others. You're showing that they can trust you. We've talked about a lot of these key words over the last 90 days. And one of the things I love most about it, as we continue to dig back some of these layers and talk about these other people and these different ways of looking at your business and hopefully engaging with yourself and your goals, yourself and your teammates, is that you are constantly thinking of ways to elevate yourself. You're thinking of ways to build your business. You're thinking of ways to build that brand. We talk about it. That's why it's been my tagline for these last 40 episodes. And the reason why I think that's so crucial to people like you and I is because if we don't have that reminder in our day, in our work, in our life, heck, I don't care. I had a person a long time ago who used to put on their billfold, they open up, they had their goals in there. And they wanted to see it. And I know that some people put up on the mirror. They want to see what their goals are. They might be sitting there and they look for ways to talk the talk. So when it's time to show up and show out, they're ready. They know that the middle is uncomfortable because it's where it separates. This is not a sexist comment, but the men from the boys. You've heard this before, the women for the girls from the women, whatever, is when you push through that uncomfortable stage in life and work, social media, marketing, going into a new venture of some sort. As you build that trust, as you're building your business, as you're building your brand, these are things that are going to carry through to the next stage. Because I'm going to tell you now, getting through that middle and achieving your goals is just one more ladder step to shift over and start to climb again. The difference is between me and you and a lot of people that are out there. Some people look forward to the uncomfortable because they know that's when the magic happens. It's also where a lot of if you go back, let's use the mortgage industry as an example. Go back 5 years ago. How many realtors and mortgage professionals do we have in the business? Tens of thousands. And look at what we have now. Okay. It's literally 50% less in most situations across the United States between both loan officer and realtor. A lot of people look at that as, oh my goodness, this might be a bad business to be in. Where somebody else sits there and goes, that's less competition. That's more market share. That's more calls I need to make. That is what I'm talking about. Okay. That middle ground, when you're building your business and you keep building your brand as you're pushing through the uncomfortable, that's when the magic really starts to happen. And, if I had a hat right now and I'd pull it out, I would say, "Boof, presto." It's the consistency, building the trust, the reliability, you being comfortable being uncomfortable. If you're able to, I talk about this all the time, how I started doing yoga with my wife. I mean, I get in these goofy wraps and I wrap myself all out. I'm so uncomfortable. I can't even mimic it right now. But that's when the growth happens. So for you, I need you to do a couple things for me. I need you to continue to elevate your business and your brand because for you, 2026 and beyond, a lot of the stuff that we're going to see from you, the person watching this or listening to this, I want you to get out of the middle. I want you to see that beyond that, it can start to be kind of fun. So once again, until next time, keep elevating your business and your brand.